Hello. Welcome to another episode of Miss Erica's Crazy Costume Catastrophe. This week, Miss Erica is dressed as Queen Elsa of Arendelle. All right, let's get started. This week, be sure to read 2 Corinthians 11 together as a family. Parents, you can find fun, creative ways to explore 2 Corinthians 11 as a family in your parent email, so be sure to check that out. Let's explore where we're at in our Big Bible timeline. Paul wrote the letter of 2 Corinthians sometime after he sent the letter to the church in Rome, but before he made it to Jerusalem. 2 Corinthians was a letter that Paul wrote to the church in Corinth. Here's Corinth on a map. This letter we're looking at this week is called 2 Corinthians, but we learn in this letter that after Paul wrote 1 Corinthians, he actually had to go to Corinth. Things had gotten so bad, and people were not doing the things he asked them to do in 1 Corinthians, so he goes there himself. He actually calls this a really painful visit. Then after he leaves, he writes them another letter, which we don't have anymore. Nobody knows where it went. And then he writes a third letter, which is 2 Corinthians. So even though it's called 2 Corinthians, it's probably the third letter that Paul actually wrote to the church in Corinth. While some people had decided to listen to Paul and start following Jesus in Corinth, there were still a lot of people in the church in Corinth who had rejected Paul. You see, Paul wasn't a very impressive speaker in person. The other problem was that while Paul lived in Corinth for 1.5 years, he was very poor, and he didn't ask the church there to give him any money. Instead, he just worked hard. He made tents for a living, and he did that during the day. And that was how he bought food and found a place to live. And then in his free time, he would teach and grow this little church in Corinth. He did that for 1.5 years with Priscilla and Aquila, who were also tent makers. But the people in the church in Corinth actually see this as kind of unimpressive. Like, he's just some poor dude who makes tents for a living. Why should we listen to him? And then there were these other teachers who were coming through town who were very wealthy. They had a lot of status. They were very impressive. But the problem was that they were teaching these people in these churches things other than Jesus. And so Paul is writing about these people. Paul actually jokingly calls them super apostles, but he's saying that in an ironic, sarcastic way. He doesn't think they're super. And then he talks to them about what he really thinks about following Jesus. I got my friends, Hannah and Sophia, to read to us a little bit from 2 Corinthians 11. Take it away, guys.
Hope you will put up with me in a little foolishness. Yes, please put up with me. I am jealous for you with the godly jealousy. I promised you to one husband, to Christ, so that I might present you as a pure virgin to him. But I am afraid that just as Eve was deceived by the serpent's cunning, your minds may somehow be led astray from your sincere and pure devotion to Christ. For if someone comes to you and preaches a Jesus other than the Jesus we preached, or if you receive a different spirit from the spirit you received, or a different gospel from the one you accepted, you put up with it easily enough. I do not think I am in the least inferior to those super apostles. I may indeed be untrained as a speaker, but I do have knowledge. We have made this perfectly clear to you in every way.
Thanks, guys. Paul is comparing here what's happening in Corinth to the very first story of sin in the whole Bible. There was a snake in a garden, and the snake is sneaky and lures Eve away from obeying God. And Paul says that's what's happening here too. These super apostles are sneaky, and they're luring people away from following Jesus. Paul says they're basically teaching a different Jesus and a different Holy Spirit, and basically a different gospel entirely than the one Paul taught them when he first planted their church. Paul is worried because he sees these super apostles, these celebrity teachers, as luring people in Corinth away from following Jesus. Paul knows that when you have made Jesus your king, that means that he should be the most important person in your entire life. He should be in charge of everything. It means that you should focus on obeying him, serving him, loving him over everyone else and over everything else. Paul knows there shouldn't be super apostles or celebrity teachers, including him. that instead you should be focused on following Jesus over everything and everyone else. I dressed like Queen Elsa this week for a reason. I know so many kids who love Elsa. They want to dress like her, they want to meet her, they want to be her, they want her awesome hair. She's basically a celebrity. I don't know if you're a Frozen fan or not, but either way, we all have things and people in our life that distract us from following Jesus. Remember, when you have made Jesus your king, that means he's in charge of your whole life. He wants all of your attention, all of your obedience, and all of your love. Nothing. Not baseball, not playing the Wii, not soccer, not playing with your friends, not your job, mom and dad, not your family. Nothing should be more important than following King Jesus.
I got some assistants to help me show you what we're going to do this week. First, you need some markers that work on a whiteboard. These will also work on your mirror. Don't worry, they'll erase. Find some markers and then head to your bathroom. First, I want you to draw a circle and then write or draw a picture inside of it of something or someone that you focus on more than Jesus. Then I want you to draw a crown on top of the circle. This is to remind you that you want Jesus to be king over everything else in your life. Leave your drawing up for 1 week. Every time you come in the bathroom and see the crown, tell Jesus you want him to be king over everything else in your life.
All right, guys, on Sunday, remember, we're going to have another family large group at Lake Accotink at 10:30 a.m. I am loving being the church with all of you guys. It's been so fun to explore the Bible together, pray together, and even sing and dance together as we celebrate King Jesus together as the church. I can't wait to see you guys there. We'll be at the large shelter by the water again. All right, guys, it's been so fun hanging out with you. Thanks for watching another episode of Miss Erica's Crazy Costume Catastrophe. All right, guys, this week for our bloopers, I found an old school video. I'm curious if you guys can guess who these little Frozen fans are.